Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to WDBJ7 Plus. I'm Michaela Shelton. Happy Wednesday. We are now halfway through the week, almost to the weekend, but it has been a beautiful week so far. We're, of course, going to take a look at your hometown weather forecast coming up here in just a little bit. We are going to have meteorologist Tanner Brammer join us to talk about what we can expect for today and the rest of our week. And we've got a lot in store for this show today. We're going to take a look at your top local headlines. That's really what we like to emphasize here on WDBJ 7 Plus, is everything that is happening right in your backyards. And so we are also going to take a look at a new initiative, a new website that is being launched here in Roanoke and around our counties to connect people, to connect you to locally operated businesses and farms that are around our areas, to connect you to homegrown food, which is really cool and very interesting topic. And that website launched this week, actually. So definitely want to stick around for that. But first, of course, we are going to take a look at your top local headlines for today. And we are going to start over in Martinsville, where there was a shooting last night that killed a woman and left a man in serious condition. And that's according to the Martinsville Police Department. And they say officers were dispatched to the 300 block of Hairston Street at around 10:30 last night to reports of a shooting. Police say they discovered 53-year-old Marcy Hunt of Martinsville and another man with gunshot wounds. They were both taken to the hospital, but Hunt did not survive. Now, that investigation is underway, and police are asking anyone with information to contact them. And 3 of our hometown airports are getting major upgrades right now. Danville is actually in the middle of an $11 million improvement project. The Roanoke-Blacksburg Regional Airport has added nonstop service to Dallas, and the Lynchburg Regional Airport has added new United flights to Charlotte and Washington, D.C. So our very own Austin Hicks tells us what these changes mean for travelers.
A rising tide raises all ships, so the fact that we're all getting air service, and there is a historical demand for aviation not only on the commercial side but on the private side as well.
Previously, the only commercial options out of Lynchburg Regional Airport was American Airlines to Charlotte. But in March, the airport added United flights to Chicago and Washington, D.C. A move Airport Director Cedric Simmons says gives travelers more flexibility.
Between the Charlotte hub, Washington Dulles, and Chicago O'Hare, travelers flying out of Lynchburg have destinations with just one stop away, over 200 destinations.
Those added flights could make travel easier for thousands across the region, and airport leaders say it's a sign of what's possible when the community works together.
Having the business community involved, both through the Lynchburg Regional Business Alliance and the Economic Development Authority, have both been key, and business leaders, our elected officials, they've all been key in helping us get these flights.
Even as high gas prices continue to impact airports nationwide, Simmons says the team is focused on improving the passenger experience and keeping costs competitive.
We've had a Valentine's Day event just to make the passenger experience, more friendly, more passenger friendly. And we're doing our best to keep our costs down so the airlines want to do business out of Lynchburg.
In Lynchburg, Austin Hicks, WDBJ7.
Yeah, some exciting stuff happening for our local airports. And now we want to take a look over at Bedford, because you might remember 13 years ago, the city of Bedford became the town of Bedford after completing a reversion process in partnership with Bedford County. The move helped the town significantly improve its financial situation. Both the town and county have been getting money from the Commonwealth of Virginia every year since then as part of a deal between the 3 entities. Now that money will soon run out. So our very own Colby Johnson has the breakdown.
When Bedford reverted from an independent city to a town, its school system was dissolved and became part of the county's. So were its courts, registrar's office, and social services department.
We gave away about 60% of our expenditures related to those mandatory services, and only saw a corresponding 40% decrease in revenue. So that was really the margin that first got our attention and really made it worthwhile.
Bedford Town Manager Bart Warner was assistant city manager at the time of the reversion. He says the town and county have been getting around $6 million a year from the state since 2013 as part of the deal. The majority of that money goes to county schools, while the town gets around $750,000 a year for its general fund. Over the last 3 years, the town has begun prepping for the loss of that money. It has increased its business license tax and, in the last year, eliminated its trash pickup for businesses.
We've also looked at other things like generally trends over time with personnel, looking at restaffing, reorganizing some of our operations, maybe not replacing some positions when folks retire, and things of that matter. Bedford County schools are also preparing for a drop in funds. Right now, the state covers around 65% of their total budget. That will drop to around 56% when the reversion deal expires in 2028. The county has been setting aside a little over $1 million a year for the last 8 years to prepare for this.
The idea is to move that over to the operating fund. We've identified about $8.6 million if we keep on our plan right now. So it isn't like $11 or $13 million shortfall at once. We've been planning.
The school division says the loss of reversion funds was not the primary reason it will close Stewartsville Elementary School at the end of next year, but that move will save over $1 million a year and could bring in more revenue if the school building is sold.
And that was Colby Johnson reporting there. All right, well, a Virginia lawmaker is facing criticism and demands to resign after agreeing with a Richmond radio host's use of an insensitive and many believe racist phrase. Representative Jennifer Kiggins is a Republican and represents the 2nd District, which covers eastern parts of the state. So WDBJ7's Layla Mitchell tells us what the NAACP had to say about it.
A political debate over Virginia's redistricting fight is now turning into a larger conversation about race and accountability. The controversy started during a radio interview Monday when Kiggins joined host Rich Herrera.
If Hakeem Jeffries wants to be involved in Virginia politics, then I suggest he does what a bunch of New Yorkers are doing. Leave New York, move down here to Virginia, run for office down here. You can represent us. If not, get your cotton-picking hands off of Virginia.
That's right. Ditto. Yes.
We have a congresswoman from Virginia who says ditto to that. We are not only disappointed, we are actually enraged that she would be so insensitive as to make that kind of a statement.
The comments came as Virginia Democrats continue fighting to restore a congressional map tied to the state's ongoing redistricting battle.
Majority of people who voted for that are feeling a very negative feedback from that. A large percentage of those folks who voted for that are people of color, specifically Black people. That's the situation here.
Monday night, Kiggins responded to the backlash.
That I am agreeing to that Hakeem Jeffries should not be spending his time and effort meddling in Virginia politics. Of course, he should never have used the language that he used. That was not the sentiment I was agreeing to. The sentiment I was agreeing to was that Hakeem Jeffries should not be meddling in Virginia politics, and that host should not be using that language.
But civil rights leaders say the voters will ultimately decide what kind of leadership they want representing Virginia.
The NAACP is calling upon each and every person in Virginia to turn out like never before for these midterm elections and vote for the candidate that you feel best represents your value.
The conversation is now stretching beyond politics, raising broader questions about language, leadership, and accountability in Virginia.
And that was Layla Mitchell reporting there. On Tuesday, Roanoke City Council approved its budget with $18 million in cuts. That includes freezing hiring for vacant positions, reducing staff raises, and delaying some major building improvements. Council also approved the school's budget, but it was only $108 million. That's $16 million less than what the district originally requested. To make the numbers work, Roanoke City schools had to make even more tough decisions focused on student programming. And yesterday, those board members approved cuts to activity buses, gifted student learning programs, preschool classes, as well as trainings and maintenance. Those cuts were approved unanimously and will add up to about $3.8 million in savings.
we had to do this because of errors that had happened in the past. And we didn't want to continue to keep deferring maintenance on city needs, and we wanted to make sure that we're not kicking the can down the road to the next council, right? So we wanted to make sure that we use those resources appropriately.
And the Roanoke City School Board will vote to approve its final budget on June 9th with the option to amend once Virginia finalizes its state budget. So we will definitely keep you updated on that there. Well, now we want to take a look at some local health news. Researchers believe telehealth visits have not led to improved access to health care. So our very own Amir Massenberg has that story and more in this Hometown Health.
Some states are lagging behind on getting teenagers vaccinated against HPV. A study in JAMA found that many states in the South, particularly Mississippi, Georgia, Oklahoma, Kentucky, and West Virginia, have much lower vaccination rates. The Northeast shows the highest vaccination rates. Some countries, like Australia, are on track to eliminate cervical cancer completely thanks to the vaccine. Plus, the rise of telemedicine has not led to an overall increase in medical care. A UCLA study found that, contrary to some fears, the increased use of telemedicine visits that began during the pandemic have not led to an increase in overall doctor's visits and have not driven up healthcare costs. But that also means telemedicine hasn't done much to improve access to healthcare either. And people who participate in the arts age slower than people who don't. A University College London study found that people who regularly read, listen to music, and visit art galleries and museums biologically age slower, possibly because of the cognitive, emotional, and social stimulation they receive from these activities. The effects were stronger for people over the age of 40. For your Hometown Health, I'm Amir Massenberg.
All right, and that was a look at some of your top local headlines for today. But don't go anywhere. We are going to be right back after this quick break to take a look at your First Alert hometown weather forecast. Meteorologist Tanner Brammer is going to be joining us to tell us everything we need to know for our Wednesday and the rest of the week into the weekend. So stay with us. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Thanks for staying with us here on WDBJ7 Plus. I'm now joined by meteorologist Tanner Brammer. Tanner, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So I understand that we could expect a few showers today, which I know we are in desperate need of just because of this drought and how dry we have been lately.
Yes, absolutely. Today's rain chance is going to be most welcomed. Now, unfortunately, it's probably not going to be a case like we saw on Monday, that widespread soaking rain. And believe it or not, it actually could come with a couple of storms later this evening. And that's part of what we're going to talk about today, talking about that shower and storm chance late this afternoon and into the evening may come in multiple waves. The actual front isn't going to make its way all the way through until this evening, and that's what's going to fire up some of those storms. And that cold front's actually going to bring in some much cooler temperatures tomorrow as well. We'll see about a 10 to 12 degree drop in those daytime highs between today and tomorrow, but we're going to shoot right back up going into the weekend. We'll be back into the 80s by Saturday. Could be talking about a couple of 90s on Sunday. I'll talk more about that here in a couple of minutes. But a current look at downtown Roanoke showing maybe a little bit more cloud cover than what we saw yesterday. I don't think it's going to be a day where we see 100% sunshine, but we're going to be talking about a few fair weather clouds here and there. But as of right now, still pretty dry across most of the region. Now, remember those multiple waves I just mentioned. The first wave is actually knocking right on our doorstep up toward the Greenbrier Valley and the Allegheny Highlands. As we head here over the next couple of hours, if you're up toward Covington, Livingston, Lexington, maybe up toward Hot Springs, don't be surprised if you see a couple of showers here and there. But the main front is still making its way through the Ohio Valley and into parts of West Virginia at the moment. The center of low pressure now up toward the Great Lakes, and obviously that cold front is going to sweep farther southeastward as we head later into the day today. But current temperatures right now looking pretty comfortable. 69 degrees in Roanoke, 68 in Danville, 70 in South Boston. In fact, we might have to bump up these daytime highs just a little bit originally from what we expected. We've got 73 listed as of right now in Roanoke, but may actually realistically get closer to 75 or 76. Simply seeing that it's only 11 o'clock in the morning and we're already close to 70 degrees right now. But as mentioned, the main story today will be that chance for some showers and storms. The first band of showers probably just going to be that, simply just some showers, not really a stormy type of environment as of right now. But you notice later this afternoon and evening, right around a lot of people's evening commutes, that's when we could see a couple of these storms make their way into some of our western hometowns. But you notice they're going to lose a little bit of steam maybe as they head further out of our region. But 7, 8, 9 o'clock, that's when over toward the Piedmont and down towards South Side, we'll start to see some of those storms make their way into those hometowns. And then that cold front sweeps all the way through, and that's going to dry us out later tonight. But it's not going to be a 100% severe type of day, but the Storm Prediction Center has placed the west and northwest portions of the region under that level 1 severe risk or that marginal risk. This is simply just indicating that while not every storm will be severe, there will be the possibility of 1 or 2 storms maybe being on the strong side, packing some gusty winds, potentially up to 50, 55, maybe even 60 miles per hour. So be sure to remain weather aware throughout your Wednesday. We'll have continuous updates on our WDBJ7 weather app as well. Now, as far as tonight goes, you're seeing on this graphic a lot of stormy icons. Those are the storms that I just talked about. Any precipitation probably going to take place before midnight, and then later overnight tonight we'll dry out and see those skies clear out, along with temperatures fall pretty rapidly. A lot of those overnight lows tonight down into the 40s, could even be a couple of upper 30s here and there. And like I mentioned a few minutes ago, setting up for a much cooler day tomorrow. Highs maybe not getting out of the 50s in a lot of hometowns. Now, I'm curious to get your thoughts, Michaela, because I think anything under maybe 55, 60 degrees for me, that's when I have to put a jacket on outside, even if it's the afternoon. What's your take on that?
Yeah, and it depends on what the wind is doing, and
Yes.
if there's if I'm in shade, I need a jacket if it's below 70 and windy.
Yes.
I need to be warm. So, yeah, definitely 50s though.
Well, you brought up a really good point, actually, because, talking about when it's 55, 60 degrees outside, sometimes that wind can make it feel even a little bit cooler, and that is something about tomorrow. Behind that cold front, those winds are going to be a little breezy behind the front out of the northwest, so might want to have that jacket on you throughout the day tomorrow. But like I said, it's not going to be all that long that we see those cool temperatures. We'll be right back into the mid-70s by Friday, and then the next big thing we're giving you that first alert on will be some much warmer, even hotter conditions going into the weekend. We'll see 80s return to the forecast widespread. Could be a couple of 90s on Sunday, and we're also going to see an increase in humidity as well. Taking a look at that Super 7-day forecast, you see those swings in temperatures here over the next 4 or 5 days. Average high is about 76 for this time of year. We'll be right around that both today and going into the day on Friday. Brief cool down tomorrow, and then we're back above average for several days potentially starting on Saturday. Now, you notice we tacked on a 20% chance for that precipitation on Saturday. This weekend's going to be one of those situations where we're not expecting a stormy outbreak. We're not expecting really much of an event, but we are expecting an increase in not only temperatures, but humidity as well. When you see those dew points get into the 50s, 60s, even especially the 70s, you start to get that possibility for a stray storm here and there, and that's kind of what we're thinking for the day on Saturday. While most of us will probably remain dry, there could be a couple of isolated storms here and there. Something to keep in mind if you are doing anything outside. But the main story is actually going to be those temperatures, especially Sunday going into early next week. Highs potentially back into the low to mid 90s. Could be our first multi-90 degree stretch of some weather this entire year of 2026. But I do want to mention to everybody out there that coming up on your First Alert Hometown Weather Show today at 1:30, I'm actually going to be taking a deep dive into the different types of winds that we can see in thunderstorms, whether it's straight line winds or tornadic winds. Now, I'm happy to say we're not expecting any tornado threat for today, but be sure to keep an eye out for that on your First Alert Hometown forecast coming up at 1:30 today on WDBJ Plus.
Yes, looking forward to that. Also looking forward to the 90s. What did I tell you yesterday?
Yeah, you just got to sit and wait, and all of a sudden it's going to be right on our doorstep.
Yes, yeah. I remember I was like, do you think we might see 90s? And look at there. So I'm excited for that.
Yes.
That'll be the first time this year, right?
So,
or did we hit 90 already?
We've hit 90 once. That happened back in, I want to say, the middle portion of April, but this will be the first time that we've hit 90 multiple days in a row.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Hopefully my pool will warm up. And
yes.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds awesome. And yeah, like you said, though, make sure to tune in to that First Alert Weather Show coming up at 1:30 here on WDBJ7 Plus to see what all they have in store and hear all about that. So thank you so much, Tanner. And thank y'all for staying with us. We'll be right back after this, though, when we are going to take a look at a brand new website. It's called the Roanoke Food and Farm Trail, where you can get a look at some of our local farms and local business owners that are giving you fresh, homemade, homegrown food. So definitely stick around for that. It's super interesting. We will be right back in just a few minutes. Welcome back to WDBJ7 Plus. Thank you so much for staying with us. I'm now joined by Lisa Archer, and she is the communications coordinator for the Roanoke Food Shed Network. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah,
Happy to
of
be here.
course. Yes, same here. I'm glad we could do this. I wanted to talk to her because they are launching a new food and farm trail that is going to go really all across our hometowns. It's a new online website that is going to be launching actually this weekend. And so, Lisa, first, just give us a little rundown and some information about this new website and how it'll be, helpful for people.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Roanoke Food Shed Network, we're a network of partners, and our work is really centered around an equitable and resilient food and farm system that produces health and abundance in our region. And over the course of really over a decade, we have been holding listening sessions asking both community partners and farmers, how can we better support you? How can we connect local residents and those who come to our region to the amazing, wonderful local food and agricultural experiences that exist in the Roanoke area. And so the idea for a region-wide farm trail was born. And we started building the trail last year. As of today, we have 56 members for the Food and Farm Trail. The website is launching today. It's RoanokeFoodandFarmTrail.com for anyone who wants to check it out. And the idea is that it is kind of the easiest way to access and to learn how to be part of your local food system. Whether you want to say, hey, I want to shop for eggs, where can I purchase eggs? Whether that's at a market, a farmer's market, a farm stand, or at a place like the co-op or a small retailer that carries local eggs. Or if you want to join a farm share and say, every week I want to pick up a basket or a bag full of wonderful, nutritious, locally grown vegetables, you can learn about that on the site. It's also home to events. So if you want to learn about food and farm festivals happening in the region, we will be populating the site with those events. It's also a great place for, say, you want to learn about the folks that you are purchasing food from, or if you want to learn about restaurants and other retailers that are supporting their local farmers and supporting their regional food system, you can go to the site and you'll see restaurants like Bloom Restaurant, which is located in the Wasena neighborhood of Roanoke. You'll see Yardbowl Meats, which is a local butcher shop here in Roanoke over in Crystal Springs. You'll see Basil's Farm Market. And in addition to that, we are celebrating the launch of our trail with a variety of events this coming weekend that we're really excited about.
Right, yes, for sure. And speaking of, there is also an event on Thursday. Is that one open to the public, or is that kind of, just for press and to get the word out there?
That is our pre-launch event. So it's for press and regional officials to give a sneak peek and do a demo of the website, along with, we're lucky enough to have received a grant for some storytelling and marketing to benefit farms and food businesses in the region. So we're debuting episode 1 and 2 and hosting a screening of that, which will also be hosted on our website, the Food and Farm Trail website.
Right. Yeah, I love that. I love the concept and the idea of this because I think, there's really a big movement right now to become healthier and to know where your food is coming from. And I think a lot of people want to, but then it's kind of overwhelming of where should I go? Of course, you've got your farmer's market, which is great, but I think knowing the names of your local, farmers and local businesses to get that farm to table food is really kind of difficult right now. But this website is just going to really consolidate it all to make it a easy place where you can find and support these local small businesses and farms.
Absolutely. We want to make it accessible. We want to make it easy. And we want to close that gap between food hitting your plate or your pot on the stove, and like food being grown in the field, because we do live in such an abundant and beautiful region that has so many farmers that are out there feeding their communities.
Right. And this spreads over a large area, like several counties too, right?
Yes, so we have a pretty wide region. We span 7 counties and 2 cities. So we are Roanoke and Salem cities, and then the counties are Bedford, Botetourt, Craig, Franklin, Montgomery, Roanoke, Floyd.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, I'm sure there's a large variety. And so how did y'all go about finding these, local farmers and, the people and the businesses that y'all wanted to be on this website?
That's a great question. The great thing about the website is that we're always going to be expanding, so we'll always be accepting new members. The one thing that we've relied on is we are a network of partners, and we rely on our partners, and it is and has always been from the very roots of the trail's beginnings, a community-wide effort. So folks have recommended farms that we reach out to. We've also been in contact and have great relationships with a lot of economic development folks across all of the counties, public officials, and those who have really been boots on the ground with the food and farm system for a long time.
Right, awesome. Well, I'm glad that, they're getting this extra exposure with this website. And so, when people go to the website, kind of give us a rundown of what they'll see and how it works. Does it have their contact information on there? Will it take them to their specific website? How does that all work?
Yes and yes. So when you go to the website, it'll tell you a little bit about the trail. It will have our videos and educational materials. And then each trail member has a different, think of it almost like a profile, right? And so it'll say kind of a snapshot of their business model, why they do what they do, who they are. It'll also say their farming practices. So if you want to support regenerative agriculture, or if you say, I only want to purchase grass-fed meat, they will have those identifiers on their profile. It will show what each farm sells and how to access that food. So it will show, say, if, for example, Garden Variety Harvest, which is an urban farm here in Roanoke City, they have a profile, and it will say that they sell at some of the local markets. They also have a farm stand that will list the hours of the farm stand. It will also link to their website. So if you look at that and say, oh, I want to learn more about their story, about their farm, you can go to their website for their full history.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that y'all are doing this and helping to promote, because, when you are, you own a farm, sometimes your time is limited to promote and do social media and get the word out. So this will really help, not only the people that want to reach out to them, but also the farm owners and the business owners themselves. So that's awesome. Very exciting stuff. So again, this launches on Saturday, so definitely be on the lookout for that. And how can people access the link, prior to the launch or the day of the launch?
So we are launching the website today, so it's up and running. It's RoanokeFoodAndFarmTrail.com.
Okay.
And for anyone who wants to help celebrate the launch, on Saturday we are hosting 2 events. We're doing a scavenger hunt in the morning, and then in the afternoon we are hosting a big event over at the Leap Pavilion in the West End side of Roanoke. And we'll have lots of free demos and interactive events, like if you want to come out for a mushroom growing workshop, we have an indigo dye workshop, we'll have cooking demos, there will be a mini Highland cow. And to learn more, just go to RoanokeFoodAndFarmTrail.com.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Well, super exciting stuff. I'll definitely be checking that out myself too. Lisa, was there anything else you wanted to add at all?
No, I think that's it. We just hope that folks will come out on Saturday. It's going to be a great fun day. The weather looks great as of today. And we're just so excited to launch this project. So thank you for having us.
Right. Yes, of course. All right. Well, thank you so much, Lisa. And thank y'all for watching. We will be right back with more WDBJ7 Plus after this quick break. Thanks for staying with us here on WDBJ7 Plus. I do want to take a minute now to promote a competition that we are running here at the station. It is called the Star Spangled Sing-Off, and we are celebrating the United States by hosting this. So all you have to do is send us a video of your solo a cappella version of the national anthem, and you could win an all expenses paid trip to Nashville, where you'll then record a performance that will air across the country. So make sure to upload your video to WDBJ7.com by Sunday, May 31st. So you still got plenty of time, and our website has all the details and everything you need to know about that contest. So spread the word on that, let your friends know, your family, and who knows, you never know, you might could win, and that would be incredible. So we need to see it. We need to see the submissions come in. And also, if you have been watching WDBJ7 Plus on your streaming platform or our app or our website, then you've most likely seen Local News Live, and that's basically our parent company. They do a lot of coverage on national stuff, but also local news happening, you know, here and all across the country. And they host their show every day at 2 o'clock. And so I have a preview of that now. Ryan Henson is going to give you a little more information on what that show is going to be about today.
Lithium-ion batteries are more and more popular every day, but fires are also becoming more common. Why experts are calling for battery makers to play a bigger role in safe disposal today on Local News Live.
All right. So, yeah, that'll be very interesting. We definitely don't want any accidents or, you know, bad things happening with batteries. So that'll be cool to check out. Again, that's coming up at 2 o'clock here on WDBJ7 Plus. So stay tuned for that. Also stay tuned. We've got our noon newscast coming up here in about 15 minutes where, you know, we'll give you a breakdown on the breaking news, local news, national, everything you need to know. And then at 1:30 every day, we always have our First Alert Hometown Weather Show that airs at 1:30 Monday through Friday. And our meteorologists, they come together to put together an exclusive show for you guys here on WDBJ7 Plus, where they go more into depth with the weather and forecast and trends, but also do some cool interviews and content over there. So you definitely want to check that out. We've also got our Hometown Sports Huddle that comes on every week night at 6:30, where the guys, they get together and they just talk everything sports and competition and all the news in the sports world for you. And that's a pretty laid back talk show where they do interviews and, you know, give you the breaking news on that stuff. So yeah, a lot of good stuff happening here on WDBJ7 Plus. If you have any ideas for what you'd like to see, send us an email at news@WDBJ7.com. And we're always open. We're learning new things about the streaming world every day and just trying to incorporate new content for you guys. So yeah, just let us know and we'll be happy to, you know, put anything that y'all would want to see on here. So yeah, thank y'all so much for watching, and I will be back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. We will see you then.